Did you have to do any training in order to learn how to portray a blind character?
Yeah. So, that was one of the aspects of this role that I think is really important and very important to get right. And I worked with a fellow friend of mine now named Joe Strecce, who's been legally blind for 20 years. It was just a lot of walking around the streets, asking him questions, filming him. He took me out in the streets one day, and I was blindfolded. And I like to joke it was a literal example of the blind leading the blind. I actually, there was one day I was filming him because I wanted to get the cane technique. The way a visually impaired person uses their cane is actually a very specific way. It's not just random tapping. It's done a particular way, and I was practicing, and I was filming him, and someone hit me. They thought I was filming him, and he didn't know, And they were like, "That's so rude." I'm like, "He's a friend of mine. We're working together." Yeah. So that happened.
Speaking of facing adversity, how did you work with the writer, director, incorporating the Catholic faith into the spiritual struggle? It seems pretty real.
Well, I'm Catholic, so I kind of get that. I kind of get that for free a little bit, when you get a job as an actor, you kind of tend to look at the stuff that you have to work on, because you don't know anything about it, really. And for me, I know nothing about being a lawyer. I know nothing about being a superhero. I'd never been to the gym in my life. Like, I was not true story. I used to not do that. And but the one thing, I got the job, and we started filming a month later. So there were certain things I just didn't have time to even address. And I was like, right, the Catholicism, I got that. I think Matt, from the comics that I've read, that you draw heavily on his faith. I love that. In order to make a compelling show and a compelling character, you're always looking for something or elements to the character that pull you in opposite directions, because that's interesting drama. Internal struggle is often quite compelling to watch. And in this example, you have such a great opportunity to play someone who believes in God, believes in divine order, believes in God's will, and at the same time is kind of playing God. He's kind of deciding, how, what happens to people in some ways. You know what I mean? Similarly, he's also a lawyer, and therefore believes in the law, believes in order, believes in the justice system, and then he takes the law into his own hands. And so that dichotomy is interesting to portray, and I think the faith is a massive part of that. Yeah.
Hi, my friend and I, before coming here, we're actually rewatching the Daredevil series, and we noticed that you get beat up a lot.
Yeah.
And you spit out a lot of fake blood. And in our school, our fake blood is actually mint flavored. We were wondering if your blood is flavored.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I spat out a lot of fake blood in season 1. And it's sweet. It's not mint, I don't think. It's sweet, though. It's quite sweet. But often, you put it in your mouth, and then it takes a while. They start the camera up, they get the sound rolling, and you got to keep it in there for a while. And there's a number of examples where I'd be like, "Oh shit, I think I swallowed it," But what was interesting is that in season 1 I did a lot of that, and then the makeup artist would come up and she'd squeeze a little bit of fake blood in my mouth so I could spit it out at the right moment. And in season 2, John Bernthal showed up, right? And we were doing a scene where we were both getting hit a lot, and we both had fake blood. And I was noticing that he was getting given a lot of fake blood. So I was like, "Dude, why are you getting so much fake blood?" He's like, "I love this stuff, man." And so I kind of got jealous a little bit, and I was like, I want some more. Give me more. And then it got to the point where we were like both spitting out so much blood, and like the director was like, "Guys, I don't believe it anymore. You gotta tone it down on the fake blood." Yeah, a little bit.